What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about unlocking the new Flamekeeper seal and title, as well as how it can be gilded now that it is available with this year's Solstice event. We'll be breaking down all the details for each of the challenges and their associated triumphs so that you won't have to devote nearly as much time and effort into getting this new seal and title for yourself. If you end up enjoying today's video and finding it helpful, then please be sure to help support the channel below by hitting that like button along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated. The new Flamekeeper seal comes with 28 triumphs. To unlock this seal and title, you will need to complete 24 of these triumphs. The final 4 triumphs listed from the Ashes, Bonfire Bash, Inextinguishable, and Incandescent are all 4 associated to gilding the Flamekeeper title and seal, which can be done each year only during the Solstice event. While we will break down each of these triumphs later in today's video, it's important to note that if you complete any of the 4 gilded triumphs, it will count towards unlocking the Flamekeeper seal and title. With that being said, if you encounter any particular obstacles with the first 24 triumphs, for example, completing Nightfalls, as some Guardians may lack the needed access for some Nightfalls. As long as you complete one of the gilded triumphs, you would be able to skip over that roadblocked triumph. And with that being said, the initial 24 triumphs associated to the Flamekeeper seal are all tied to the challenges available within the event card and can all be completed without having to upgrade your event card. The first challenge is called Bashing Success and will only require you to complete the Bonfire Bash once to complete this challenge. You will need to visit Eva first at the tower, and you will need to be wearing your Solstice armor to receive credit, which is the case for all of these challenges. The second challenge is called Good Ignite. You'll need to defeat 20 ignition carriers within the Bonfire Bash. These are the glowing yellow bar enemies that tend to have set spawn locations. To quickly complete this challenge, just bounce between the 4 to 5 locations that these guys spawn from, and be sure to get a couple of shots in on each. You should be able to complete this challenge within 1 to 2 bash activities. The third challenge is called Torch the Taken. This will require you to defeat the Taken that spawn in during the Bonfire Bash, not the ones that are originally there when you first start in. Typically during each event, they spawn in twice, so you'll need to track them down quickly and assist the team in defeating them and their blights to get credit. You'll need 20 in total, so this will take around 10 total matches to complete. The fourth challenge is called Fuel for the Fire. This will require you to stoke the flames 50 total times, which is done by tossing the ignition ball into the bonfire. This counts the overall team's total for each match, so if you're stoking the flames at least 18 to 20 times, which is the max, each event, you should be able to complete this challenge within 3 to 4 matches. There are a few ball dupe glitches which allow you to dunk the same ball multiple times. This can be done by using Middle Tree Arc Titan or Middle Tree Arc Hunter, utilizing either the Hunter's uppercut or the Titan's slam. While holding on to the ignition ball, you can perform these actions near the bonfire to get credit. The fifth challenge is called Ash Tray, and to complete it, you'll need to collect 500 Silver Ash. Silver Ash is earned when you complete Bonfire Bash activities while carrying Silver Leaves. Silver Leaves drop from most every activity in the game right now, but drop at different rates. We'll be breaking down those rates here soon in the video, but in total, you'll need 500 Silver Leaves to turn into Silver Ash. At most, you can turn 100 leaves into ash per match, and you can only carry 100 leaves on your character. So this will take more time to complete than the previous challenges, but since many of the other challenges here require completing certain activities, you will get plenty of silver leaves through the process. It will be important to keep track of how many silver leaves you're holding, as you don't want to max out and then not receive any. When you're getting close to maxing out, just go hit up a bonfire bash to exchange them over. Ultimately, you're going to need both the leaves and the ash to be able to upgrade your Solstice armor, along with the kindling that you will receive from each of these challenges. Now, the 6th challenge is called All Around the Bonfire. This one requires you to complete 2 matches of Bonfire Bash against each of the available combatants: Cabal, Hive, and Fallen. You have to complete an activity where each of these spawn in 2 separate occasions. This one really relies on your RNG, but as you'll be coming back into the Bonfire Bash several times over, you're likely to complete this in the process. The 7th challenge is called Fuel for the Fire 2. This requires you to stoke the Bonfire Bash flames a total of 100 times. Just like the Fuel for the Fire 1, this will count all stokes performed by your team. This challenge will count the previous 20 stokes that you have already completed, so you'll only need an additional 80. And this carries over into the 8th challenge, Fuel for the Fire 3, which requires 150 total bonfire stokes, meaning you'll need just 50 more to complete this challenge. Between these 3 challenges, you're looking at around 10 to 12 matches before completing. You'll be rewarded with the Hyperborean Pinion exotic sparrow once completing this challenge. The 9th challenge, called Like Wildfire, requires you to defeat enemies anywhere in the system, with bonus progress for guardians defeated. This will require around 500 total kills, with guardians counting as double. Considering there are other challenges that require defeating guardians, it might be in your best interest to hit up Mayhem when it's available, which this week it is. Otherwise, this challenge will get completed along the way. While it might have only just been a bug for me, Like Wildfire would not count enemies defeated while in the Bonfire Bash. So keep that in mind when looking at this challenge and other challenges like shotgun, hand cannon, and heavy weapon kills challenges. You might want to look outside of Bonfire Bash to complete these if you're not getting credit. With that being said, the 10th challenge is called Pyromania and requires you to defeat enemies with solar abilities. This boils out to be 200 enemies in total, but no additional progress is rewarded for guardians defeated. The 11th challenge is called Superlative. You'll need to defeat enemies with supers for this one, and in total, it will be 200 enemies. As long as you're running a solar super, you're going to be able to get credit for both the 10th challenge of Pyromania and Superlative. Firepower is the 12th challenge. This requires you to defeat enemies with heavy weapons. While guardians defeated will count, you won't get bonus progress. In total, this requires 200 kills with a heavy weapon. The 13th challenge, Forged in Flame, is where some of you will likely get annoyed. 100 total guardians is what you'll need to defeat, and I know that might seem like a lot, but I assure you it's not nearly that bad if you hit up Mayhem and spam grenades and use high power attacking supers. While it still may take a few matches, Mayhem and Iron Banner will be your best 2 playlist activities. And you're going to have to run playlist activities throughout some of these challenges anyways, so Mayhem is definitely going to be a great opportunity. The 14th challenge is called Hand Lighter. This challenge requires you to defeat enemies with hand cannons, and in total, this will need you to defeat 200 enemies with hand cannons. Like previously mentioned, I had issues getting credit for this in the Bonfire Bash, so try other playlist activities if you also have issues. The 15th challenge is called Shotgun Solstice, and just like the last challenge, this will require you to defeat 200 enemies, but with shotguns. Keep in mind that throughout your time in Bonfire Bash, you're going to get rewarded with the Compass Rose and the Something New, a shotgun and a hand cannon, perfect for being able to complete these challenges. Burn Them Down is the 16th challenge and requires you to defeat bosses anywhere in the system. In total, you'll have to defeat 60 bosses. Altar of Sorrows and Blind Well are two events that you can complete for other challenges, and are two events that offer several mini bosses and bosses that will count towards progress here, making Altar of Sorrows and Blind Well both great places and activities to hit up. The 17th challenge is called Raking the Coals. This challenge requires you to complete playlist activities. All playlist activities count for the same amount towards this challenge, so the faster the activity, the better, which makes Mayhem your best bet. Otherwise, speed runs of low-rank Nightfalls will be a great option. In total, you're going to need around 30 total playlist activities completed. The 18th challenge is called Solstice Jubilee. This requires you to complete public events, and for the fastest way to farm public events, you'll want to head to the EDZ. From here, you can easily bounce between the zones, starting at the Winding Cove, then going clockwise around the map to hit up all the public events in a row. In total, you need about 20 public events. It does seem though that heroic events count for a slightly larger amount, but in total, with speeding through the EDZ, this should not take very much time to complete. The 19th challenge is called Lamp Lighter, and will require you to complete 10 patrols, something easily done while completing the public events. The best patrols will be the ones requiring you to just defeat enemies or collect supplies from enemies. If you get anything else that requires you to go to a different zone outside of where your public event is, then just abandon it. The 20th challenge is called Dare to Dream. You have the option of running Dares of Eternity or Blind Well. Dares of Eternity requires the 30th anniversary pack, so for some, this may not be an option. With that being said, Blind Well completions vary in progress. Tier 1 events will count for 10%, Tier 2 will count as 15%, Tier 3 will count for 20%, and Tier 3 with Heroic will count as 25%. Dares of Eternity will provide 25% for Heroic and 15% for Normal. Overall, Blind Well will make a better option as long as you or someone in the area has Tier 3 offerings, which can be purchased from Petra, and better yet, Tier 4 offerings as well to make them heroic. The 21st challenge is called Brightfall. This will require you to complete either Nightfalls or Strikes. Each completion provides a percentage of progress. Strikes will provide 7%, 10% for Adept Nightfalls, 13% for Hero Nightfalls, 15% for Legend, 20% for Master, and 25% for Grandmaster. With this week's Nightfall being Warden of Nothing, there will be some of you who are unable to access Nightfalls because you don't have the Forsaken pack. And while 7% per strike makes for a long grind, it might be beneficial to just wait since Solstice does run for 3 full weeks. But keep in mind that you have to run multiple activities for other challenges, so you can still get it done by running strikes. The 22nd challenge is called Fires of Competition, and it will require you to complete 25 total matches of either Gambit or Crucible. And with Mayhem being on the playlist like I've talked about already, it's a perfect opportunity to quickly knock this challenge out. A Spark in the Dark is the 23rd challenge. This challenge requires completing either Altar of Sorrows or Sever missions. In total, you're looking at 20 rounds of Altar of Sorrow, or 4 Sever missions. I found it quicker just to run through Altar of Sorrows for this one. The 24th and final challenge within the event card is called In the Hot Seat, and this will require you to complete activities in the Throne World. There are quite a few activities available that reward progress, but some are not going to be available to free-to-play players. With that being said, Witch Queen campaign missions, including the ones that are available for free-to-play players, reward 5% for normal and 10% for legend mode. Public events and lost sectors count for 5%. Preservation and normal Vox Obscura count for 10%. 15% for Master Vox Obscura, 25% for completing Vow of the Disciple raid, 10% from normal Wellspring, and 15% from Master Wellspring. So you do have plenty of options here, even if you are a free-to-play player or a solo player. And that wraps up the initial 24 event card challenges. As you complete each of these challenges, you'll need to claim them in order to unlock the associated triumph, along with earning the kindling. You're going to need the kindling to use in your armor upgrades. The final 4 triumphs, as mentioned earlier, are all linked to gilding the Flamekeeper seal and title. The first triumph is called From the Ashes, and to complete this one, you'll need to upgrade 12 total pieces of Solstice armor. Each character has 4 upgradable armor pieces, since the class item doesn't count. You'll need to upgrade a complete set of armor on all 3 of your characters before the end of this year's solstice if you intend on completing and gilding this year. The Bonfire Bash Triumph requires you to fully stoke the bonfire during a Bonfire Bash activity. This only has to be done once, and will need a total of 20 stokes to the bonfire to unlock this triumph. Incandescent requires you to complete dungeons, raids, master or grandmaster nightfalls, or win rounds of trials while wearing a complete, fully rekindled Solstice armor set. This boils out to be 1 grandmaster nightfall or 2 master nightfall, 1 complete raid run through, 2 complete dungeon run-throughs, and at the time of this video we don't know how many trials matches you'll have to win, but most likely between 3 and 5. It's important to note that on activities that don't lock out your gear, you can swap over to your Solstice equipment just before you complete the activity. That way you can use exotics or upgraded armor that you already have for better builds to ultimately better complete those activities. But if it's something like Grandmaster Nightfall that locks out your equipment, I highly suggest that everybody fully level up, masterwork your armor first before jumping into those high-ranking in-game activities. To unlock the Flamekeeper seal and title and Gilded, you will need to complete all of these challenges and triumphs before Solstice ends. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until next year's Solstice of 2023. Keep in mind that the Reveler title and its seal are also now available, and to fulfill the needed Solstice requirements, you'll need to complete at least 16 of these challenges off of the Solstice event card. The next event on the lineup for the Revelry seal and title will be the Festival of the Lost. And with that, that's going to wrap things up for today's video on everything you need to know about unlocking and gilding the new seal and title called Flamekeeper. If you have any further questions or tips, then please be sure to let us know in the comments below. I wish you all the best in luck and hope you are all enjoying these Solstice festivities. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it helpful. If so, then please be sure to help support the channel below by hitting that like and subscribe button. Both are greatly appreciated and really do help support the channel. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.